Hey, how are you doing today? I hope that you're doing so well. And if you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm so happy that you're here today. My voice is a little different because I am not whispering. I wanted to try out just soft-spoken voice, and hopefully it turns out how I want it to turn out, and that it's not too loud. I wanted to start a new series because I have been really into history, specifically about like World War One and Two, as well as space. So I just wanted to do a series of what ifs because it can go down a rabbit hole in a really good way with having different things to talk about and kind of theorize on, which is always fun to do. So I have some information that I wrote about what if we lived on Mars. So I'm just going to be looking at my computer because I wrote a bunch of things down and I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. You can probably hear my dog walking in here, but I hope it's not too distracting. My dog can't be far away from me or else he gets sad. So now one of the biggest adjustments here, if we were to live on Mars, would be gravity. Now Mars has about 30% of the gravity we experience on Earth, and just imagine the sensation of moving through a space where your body feels so light, like so light. I know. And you could leap so high, and a simple jump would feel like you're floating. But over time, this lower gravity could weaken our muscles and bones. NASA scientists are already studying how microgravity affects the human body on the International Space Station. They found that without the pull of Earth's gravity, our bones lose density and our muscles shrink, which is definitely not ideal. But to combat this, Martian settlers might have to perform daily resistance exercises, wearing weighted clothing, or use innovative machines to mimic Earth's gravity. These routines would definitely become essential rituals, grounding us in a way that keeps us healthy and strong. Another part about living on Mars would be surviving in Mars' atmosphere. So the air in Mars is primarily carbon dioxide. In a hospitable environment for humans, it's very thin. It's like a very thin atmosphere, about 100 times dense than Earth's. So outside your habitat, you'd need a pressurized suit with an oxygen supply. With recent advancements, scientists have begun testing technology to extract breathable oxygen from Mars' atmosphere. So NASA's MOXIE experiment, which MOXIE stands for, I wrote it down, stands for Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. It's one example that successfully converted Martian carbon dioxide into oxygen, a small but important step towards the dream of self-sustaining habitats. And so now that we have gravity down, we have how we're going to combat the atmosphere. Next, it would be our food sources and hydroponics. So food would definitely be probably another main concern because we wouldn't have access to Earth's farms and grocery stores. So Martian life would require sustainable ways to grow food. Here, indoor farming with hydroponics and artificial lighting would be our go-to methods. Hydroponics do allow plants to grow in water-rich nutrient solutions without soil, which is great. So like fresh lettuce, leafy greens, and even strawberries might grow in compact, carefully controlled spaces, which I thought was so cool. So we definitely have that aspect covered. In recent advancements in plant biology, including experiments on the International Space Station, have shown that it's possible to grow crops in microgravity. Fun fact, researchers have even grown small batches of food using Martian soil simulants. So the goal in creating this is to have a closed loop system where waste is recycled back into the ecosystem, mimicking nature's cycles, but on a much smaller scale. And I know you're probably thinking, all right, so food, got that down, but what about water? Great question. Water, of course, one of our most precious resources. It's very limited. It's a limited resource on Mars. In some places, scientists have found evidence of ice buried beneath the surface. So that could definitely be a lifeline for future colonies. With a bit of ingenuity, future Martians might extract this water for drinking, farming, and even creating fuel. Advanced recycling systems, much like those already in use in the International Space Station, would definitely be essential. Everything from sweat to plant moisture could be purified and reused. If we were just to pack up our bags today and move to Mars, I know you're probably also wondering what that psychological shift would do to us. Just to be transparent, I mean, there would be isolation. You're going to be separated from Earth by millions of miles away, so it's not like we can just be like, oh, I want to get up and go to Disney. I want McDonald's. That would be probably really difficult to deal with. Because you hear of people who, for example, move to islands and they can't just go somewhere, can't just hop in a car and go somewhere, and so it could cause those feelings of isolation, which no human, that's not normal for a human. So communication, there would be a time lag. So even if we still have people here on Earth and we're in Mars, it's there would be really no way to communicate effectively. Sending a message to Earth could take between 5 and 25 minutes one way. It's just a reminder of how isolated we would be there. But I know as humans, we can definitely adapt to those circumstances. Even with those challenges, there's definitely a beauty to life on Mars. Just imagine stepping into your protective suit, looking up at the night sky and seeing Earth as a tiny little dot in the distance. And just the awareness that humanity has set foot onto another world and made it home, it's just that alone is just so inspiring. So I definitely think that would be a beautiful view to be able to experience one day. NASA, the ESA, and SpaceX and other space agencies have made tremendous strides towards making Mars a tangible goal. NASA's Perseverance rover is currently exploring the Martian surface, seeking signs of ancient life, and SpaceX Starship, envisioned by Elon Musk, is being designed to transport large numbers of people and cargo between Earth and Mars. So there's definitely these advancements that fuel a vision of Mars, not just as an idea, but as a reality within reach. Now that we are on Mars, we have to go back to thinking about powering a colony. So with Mars, it is a harsh, energy-intensive environment, so finding efficient power sources would be critical. Solar power, a staple for space missions, would be useful, though less reliable on Mars due to frequent dust storms. And NASA's Curiosity rover, for instance, has been affected by these storms, which sometimes can block sunlight for days and even weeks. That's a long time without sunlight. So to sustain a colony, scientists are looking at small nuclear reactors as a potential solution. NASA's Kilopower project, for example, is developing small portable nuclear reactors that can power habitats and life support systems. These reactors are designed to be safe, with enough energy to output to support daily living needs, providing a steady hum of power no matter the weather outside. So definitely something to kind of calm our minds while we're there. We can, we have a solution for power. And also like building materials and 3D printing. Like, this is random, but if you've never seen a 3D printed house, please look it up. If I can find a picture, we'll put it here, but it's so cool. So like, one of the most exciting advancements for Martian construction is the development of 3D printing using Martian materials. So shipping tons of supplies from Earth would be probably impractical, honestly. Don't know how we would do that. So scientists are exploring the use of Martian regolith, the dusty soil covering Mars, as a base for construction material. And NASA actually successfully experimented with 3D printing in space, and recent studies have shown that mixing Martian soil simulant with binding agents can create bricks strong enough to withstand the Martian environment, which is pretty cool. And you can just envision a Martian colony with habitats, tools, and even furniture that are printed from the very soil of the planet. And each item is going to be uniquely suited to the conditions of Mars, blending technology and the environment in fascinating ways. Also, this is one thing I did not think about, but while I was researching, I was like, we'll need protection from this. So radiation protection. Like, another challenge with Mars is a lack of protective magnetic field, which means Martian residents would be exposed to high levels of cosmic radiation. Earth's magnetic field shields us from much of the solar and cosmic radiation that constantly bombards the solar system. But the problem with Mars is that it lacks this natural shield. To stay safe, habitats on Mars might be built underground or covered with thick layers of soil or ice, creating a natural barrier against radiation. Alternatively, scientists are exploring the use of hydrogen-rich materials like polyethylene as radiation shields. So just imagine living in an underground habitat, insulated by the soil and shielded by the translucent panels that keep the harmful rays out, but still let in soft, diffused light. Also, transportation. Moving around on Mars would feel different, slower, and a bit surreal because the atmosphere is so thin. Traditional vehicles like helicopters, airplanes really wouldn't work well. But in 2021, NASA's Ingenuity helicopter achieved the first controlled flight on another planet, hovering briefly in the thin Martian air, which is really exciting. So we're in a good direction with that. And it's a small win, but it's a win. And it's definitely going to open the door to new possibilities for airborne transportation on Mars. So I did mention dust storms earlier, so like those are super common there with enveloping the entire planet. Like, these dust storms take over the planet for weeks. So the dust is so fine, like it can creep into electronics, clog air filters, and even affect the efficiency of solar panels. So NASA's Opportunity rover, for example, was permanently disabled after a massive dust storm blocked out its sunlight. So we definitely need to live in super like sealed habitats, and like regularly cleaning out the dust. So just having like an advanced filtration system to protect against the fine red dust will definitely help us, so that way we don't have to worry about that. For now, it's just a what if. So I definitely want to know what you think about living on Mars? After everything that I've told you we would need to successfully live on Mars, would you live there? Or would you miss Earth too much? I mean, Mars will remain a place where humans live in a carefully controlled habitat rather than open environments like here on Earth. But just imagine each building like a tiny bubble of Earth. Just like a contained ecosystem where temperature, humidity, like oxygen are all monitored to provide like a comfort in the world. So we're on Mars. So I hope that you enjoyed that. I think this is really fun. I also enjoy doing research on this. So definitely let me know what other what if scenarios you'd want to learn about.